Chapter 1. Getting Started. The Board. The Scrabble game board is a 15 by 15 square board with squares designed for placing tiles as you play words on your turn. The board is colorful and easy to understand, with the explanation for each word's value on the board itself. In fact, most people do not have to refer to the rule book at all after the first official game, since the rules are so easy to understand and gameplay flows very well for those with even a small amount of experience. The Scrabble Board, USA version. As with most board games, your first step involves setting up the board and getting all of the competitors ready to determine who will be the first to play. The board unfolds and lays flat with almost no work, and no other board setup is required before you get started with the game. The game board actually consists of a variety of colored tiles with specific meanings, as follows for a USA-Canada Scrabble board. Beige and gray tiles. Letters and words are worth face value. Red tiles. The word is doubled. Orange tiles. The word is tripled. Blue tiles. The letter is doubled. Green tiles. The letter is tripled. The original boards were slightly different, and many international game boards more closely resemble these than the modern USA-Canada versions. Although they are slightly different where colors are concerned, in most other ways they are exactly alike, including all rules of gameplay, scoring, and similar options. They are laid out as follows. White tiles. Both letters and words are worth face value. Light blue tiles. The letter is doubled. Dark blue tiles. The letter is tripled. Pink tiles. The word is doubled. Red tiles. The word is tripled. The red star in the center of the board is special, and one letter of your starting word has to be placed on the star. This is true whether your word is horizontal or vertical, and this red star acts as a double word space for the first word only. The rules. The rules are important. Scrabble is one of those games with very few rules, and the few rules that do exist are very easy to follow and uncomplicated for the average player to understand. The box says that players should be between ages 8 and up, but you can also use this game to help younger children develop reading, spelling, and word-building skills with a little bit of adaptation. This game is a great choice for instilling a lifelong love of learning, reading, and creativity in any child or young adult, but it is a lot of fun for adults too. Once players have the hang of the game, there is very rarely a need to go back to the rule book in order to understand something. And in fact, most of the questions that do arise are about whether or not a particular word is acceptable. The basic rules for Scrabble in the USA and Canada are as follows. 1. Players can only play in one direction at a time. For instance, if you are building a horizontal word, you cannot add a vertical letter to the word. Letters all have to flow in the same direction for a given turn, although you can make more than one word with your turn. 2. You can create multiple words with one play, so long as the word that you create follows rule number 1. It is easy to create several words as the game progresses, giving you a great opportunity to score a lot of points. Make sure that you are familiar with the many two-letter combos that are acceptable to help you build high-scoring word combinations. 3. All words have to be from a list of acceptable words provided by Scrabble and Hasbro, found in Merriam-Webster Dictionary or another acceptable dictionary in your country. 4. Any word may be challenged by another player. This does not preempt that player's turn unless the word is determined to be valid. If the word is discovered to be invalid, the offending player loses the challenge and must return the tiles to his or her base to be played on a different turn. Drawn tiles must be returned to the draw pile, and the pile should be shuffled to avoid an advantage to that player. 5. Each player is responsible for counting his or her own score. This is the best way to help make sure that no one loses points due to error, but one person may be designated to keep score for the game. Whenever possible, choose a scorekeeper who is not playing the game to ensure the veracity of the score at the end of the game. 6. Players can move their own tiles on the board during a current turn until the play is finished. That means a player can experiment with wordplay until they add the score for that word. At that point, tiles should not be moved. For instance, if you are thinking about playing the word actor, but choose to play acting instead, you can change the letters so long as you have not added the score for actor yet. If you have already added the score for the word and then discover a higher scoring possibility, it is too late to play the second word. 7. A player will never have more than 7 tiles on the base at any given time during the game. There will be no fewer than 7 tiles until there are no more tiles to draw. Exchanges should always be for the same number of tiles as are returned to the pile. 8. Blank tiles can only be used for one letter, and this letter remains the in-effect letter for that tile for the remainder of the game. Regardless of the letter chosen, the value for blanks is always 0. 9. Bonus tiles can only be used once, and after they are used, they become regular game tiles with no extra value. They count as 0 even for bingo placement. 10. The first word must cross the red star at the center of the board vertically or horizontally, and this word is always doubled. House rules. The house rules usually benefit the house. Okay, so you figure that because it's your house, then your rules apply, right? You are exactly right. Although it is not always the best and most sportsmanlike option, some people choose to utilize their own variation of the official Scrabble rules and guidelines for gameplay. At times, the shift is minor, rarely affecting gameplay, such as who goes first. Always the youngest or oldest, for example. However, sometimes the gameplay is drastically affected by the house rules presented by the person hosting the game. In cases like this, it is sometimes better to avoid playing Scrabble unless you are already familiar with the rules of the house and are prepared to compensate for the differences. Consider the following 2 scenarios based on the Scrabble way to play versus house rules for a specific home. Official Scrabble rules. 1. Jim and Debbie play a game of Scrabble according to the official rules of gameplay, including scoring, turns, letter distribution, and bonuses. 2. At the end of the game, Jim has scored 252 points, including Debbie's leftover tiles, and runs out of tiles first. Debbie has a score of 235 points, with 4 points in leftover tiles added for a score of 231. With a score of 252 minus 231, Jim wins the game according to the official Scrabble rules. House rules. 1. Joe and Deanna play a game of Scrabble according to Joe's house rules, which dictate that you can exchange tiles at any time without losing your turn. 2. Throughout the game, both players are constantly swapping tiles that are easier to work with on the board, getting terrific letter bonuses, whole word scores, and bingos. 3. Joe manages to amass a score of 521, even accounting for a 10-point loss due to a leftover Z at the end of the game. Deanna, on the other hand, winds up with 614 points, including Joe's leftover tile bonus. 4. Deanna wins with a score of 614 minus 521 according to Joe's house rules. Tiles and bases. Place all of the letters in the bag and shake vigorously. Then dump the tiles onto the table in front of all the players. Make sure that all the letters are turned face down, and then mix up the letters to ensure that no one can remember where specific letters are placed. Each player should draw a letter, and the person closest to A goes first. Gameplay is in a clockwise rotation after that player. If more than one person draws an A, all tying players should draw again. Each player is given a base to hold the tiles during the game. This base should be turned toward the player so that no other player can see the tiles placed on it. Tiles may be arranged in any order so long as the player can see each letter or blank. Many players choose to arrange the letters either alphabetically or by separating vowels from consonants. There are 100 tiles included in each Scrabble game. As long as you buy the same game, such as 2 USA Canadian versions, they will always contain the same number of letters with the same letter distribution. The bag consists of the following tile makeup for traditional games, including the face value of each letter using the same version. A. 1 point, quantity 9. B. 3 points, quantity 2. C. 3 points, quantity 2. D. 2 points, quantity 4. E. 1 point, quantity 12. F. 3 points, quantity 2. G. 2 points, quantity 3. H. 4 points, quantity 2. I. 1 point, quantity 9. J. 8 points, quantity 1. K. 5 points, quantity 1. L. 1 point, quantity 4. M. 3 points, quantity 2. N. 1 point, quantity 6. O. 1 point, quantity 8. P. 3 points, quantity 2. Q. 10 points, quantity 1. R. 1 point, quantity 6. S. 1 point, quantity 4. T. 1 point, quantity 6. U. 1 point, quantity 4. V. 4 points, quantity 2. W. 4 points, quantity 2. X. 8 points, quantity 1. Y. 4 points, quantity 2. Z. 10 points, quantity 1. Blank tile, 0 points, quantity 2. Drawing tiles. To start, each player will select 7 tiles and slide them face down to their respective bases where they can be turned and placed on the base. Rearrange the remaining tiles so that they are easy for everyone to access for the rest of the game. You can arrange your own tiles however you like on your base, but many people choose one of a few simple methods that help stimulate word building. 1. Alphabetically. This method is very popular for more experienced players. 2. Grouping vowels and consonants. Although not the easiest way to separate letters to expedite word building, this is still a popular method. 3. Grouping handy blends. For instance, placing letters that go together next to each other. This includes blends such as ing, ed, er, est, less, ly, ers, th, ch, tch, and so on. Keep 7 tiles on your base. The tiles will have one blank side and one side with a letter and the value, except the blank tiles. These will be blank on both sides with no value. You can assign any letter to the blank when you place it on the board, but once a letter has been assigned to the blank, it cannot be changed if another player uses it during gameplay. Once you have played any word, you draw more tiles so that your base is back to 7 tiles at any given time, unless tiles have run out. As mentioned earlier, until there are no more tiles left to draw, you should never have fewer than 7 tiles on your base. Note, you cannot exchange tiles if you do not like the ones you draw, even at the start of the game. There are no do-overs in Scrabble. Wait until your next turn and then exchange the tiles if you cannot make a word, but this results in no score for that turn. The first word. A great score starts with the first word. You can create the first word horizontally or vertically, but no diagonal words are permitted in Scrabble. Words should be legible from left to right or top to bottom only, much like playing a newspaper crossword puzzle. The first word of the game is special, since it is the only word that has to be placed over the red star at the center of the board. It does not matter which letter in the word is placed on the tile, but some people choose to play with the house rules dictating that the first or last letter be placed in this location. Pay attention to word combos that score big. Since the first word is automatically doubled, your goal is to use the highest scoring word possible with your starting letters. Off-the-wall letters such as Z, Q, K, H, M, V, C, X, and J offer the most points, with W, B, F, P, and Y right behind as target letters that you want to use if possible in order to increase your total word score. If you play all 7 letters from your base for the first word, you still receive the double word score, any bonus tiles for letters played, and the bingo score, 50-point bonus. This can result in some very high-scoring words. Note, all words, including the first word, have to be at least 2 letters long in order to be acceptable. There are no single-letter words acceptable, even if they are an acceptable word in the English language, such as A or I. Counting your points. In order to determine how many points you get for each word, add up the face value of each letter. Bonus tiles, such as triple letter or double word, should be factored in as you count, and the end result is your score for that word. Tiles that apply only to the letter will double or triple the value of that particular letter only, but those that apply to the entire word double or triple the value of the entire word. These can be excellent opportunities for high-scoring words. As mentioned in the rules, each player is responsible for counting his or her own points, although it is helpful to have a designated scorekeeper for games. This can be a challenge sometimes, because you cannot go back and recount your score if you think you miscalculated. Be very careful when counting your points to avoid a costly mistake. Always watch as the scorekeeper writes your score, and watch the addition as well, to avoid losing any points due to human error or cheating. Getting a bingo. You achieve bonus points if you can use all 7 tiles from your base in one word, creating a word horizontally or vertically. The word can be formed solely from your letters and played against another word or join with another word already on the board to create a longer word. This is called a bingo, and it is worth 50 points, in addition to the points you receive from creating the word. This is another great way to take a strong lead or catch up if you are behind in the game. You also receive points for any additional words created with your bingo, such as the 2-letter combinations common in Scrabble. The letters S, R, and D are great letters to have handy for getting a bingo, especially in the beginning of the game when there are plenty of spaces available for word placement. Combinations like LESS, ING, ERS, ED, TCH, NTH, SCR, STR, SPR, and similar choices are great ways to build with the letters on your base to find bingo opportunities. In other parts of the world, a bingo may go by a different name. For instance, in Spain it is called a Scrabble, and in other places it is simply called a bonus. Some USA and Canadian players still refer to this play as a Scrabble for convenience sake, and this is considered a house rule. Regardless of what you call it, it is a lot of fun to get that bonus 50 points added to your score, so always be on the lookout for this opportunity. Count your score twice. Even a single point can make a difference in a tight game.